We back at it again.
Yes. Yeah. It was a day. So.
Yeah. I told Leah this earlier. Working from home and managing 3 kids, all of them under 10, one of them under 2. It makes you feel like the genie from Aladdin, going, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? It's just like every time you sit down, it's for less than a minute and then there's something. It could be them walking up to just give you a hug. It could be them walking up to ask you to open the jelly. It could be anything. But it's always something. I love them so much. So much. I would do anything for them. Which clearly includes losing my mind.
Da-da.
Da-da. Throw on an hour loop of Baby Shark. 7 minutes in, he wants Mickey. Throw on an episode of Mickey, and 7 minutes in, he wants Coco. But he doesn't just want any Coco. He's got to be head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But not the wrong head, shoulders, knees, and toes. It's the right one.
Boy knows what he wants. He came up to me at one. I had gotten down the Fritos, and he came up and he was like, Mimi. I was like, what do you want? You thinking you want, like, another show? I was like, all right, yeah, okay, you want Elmo or... And we walked into the kitchen and he points to the chips. Pee.
Oh. Jeez. Worst part about it is he's so dang cute, you can't say no.
Or you say no and it goes...
Which means we're probably doing something wrong. On the other hand, he's, pushing 2, so of course he's like that.
Yeah.
He just can't keep indulging his every whim because I don't want to hear the screeching. I hope daycare raises him right.
I hope he's able to stay at daycare.
I texted my work this evening. I said, good news, guys. We'll be back. Or I'll be back in the morning, assuming IT doesn't erupt like Mount St. Helens. When I picked him up from daycare, because it was on Tuesday, he was there for, 15 minutes before they called me and they're like, hey. So he threw up again. I show up, and I walk into the room to pick him up. I just go, what's up, Old Faithful? The daycare lady seemed way more concerned about his well-being than I did in that particular moment. I was just like, whatever, you'll be fine as soon as we get home. And he was.
Yeah, he is not thrown up at home.
Yeah.
So. But I unbagged his clothes and...
Oh my.
Yeah, it happened. But...
Getting to the point where I'm like, is he allergic to daycare? Is that what it is?
Nah, just... We're getting to the bottom of it. It's fine. Anyway, we should do this.
Right.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Season 2, Episode 4, Halloween 2.
Love the Halloween episodes.
It's Halloween! Boyle is excited to announce that the squad is to choose his costume this year. Post-credits. Jake asks Holt if he remembers last Halloween. He announces round 2 of the Halloween bet. Holt doesn't want to do it, says it's not worth it. Jake says he will take the watch off Holt's wrist. The stakes. Jake will do 5 weeks of overtime if he loses. Holt will do 1 week of Jake's paperwork if Jake wins. An accord is made. Meanwhile, the squad is putting together safety trick-or-treat pumpkins, and Gina bails. Jake briefs the squad on the bet. He's been planning for 3 months. They all have code names. Jake...
There's a whole side story about Gina bailing. The whole squad's mad at her, but Terry defends her. He's like,
Let's give her the benefit of the doubt.
He's giving her the benefit of the doubt. And we'll find out later that it was for something frivolous, and he's upset about her. He's upset about it.
Jake hires a professional pickpocket, Fingers. The heist begins. Opera, Karina Burana, of course, smoke bomb, bouncy balls, a drone, etc. Jake goes to the bar to pick up the watch. It's not there, just a watch. Just a note.
Just a note, my bad.
Fingers made off with it, with the watch. At the precinct, Jake is looking into Fingers' location. Holt says the watch was given to him by Kevin. By Kevin's father shortly before he died. So Jake keeps calling it the death watch.
Yes. But at that point, Jake realizes not only did I lose Holt's watch, but it was like very, very important to him, and I severely fucked up, and I need to get this back.
I think that's the name of a...
Death watch?
Yeah, Terry Pratchett book, Death Watch. I think I have it.
Night watch.
I have to look. Anyway. Meanwhile, Gina shows up to the pumpkin thing. She's just been practicing dancing, which pisses Terry off. Fingers texts Jake, wanting to meet up. He sells the watch back to them for $300 or $122 and Jake's shoes. He says the watch was in his glove compartment the whole time, but his car gets towed. So Jake ends up commandeering a party bus. Terry goes to talk to Gina. She got kicked out of her dance group. Terry tells her to be better, but Gina's been taking night classes to get her bachelor's, and that's why she's been missing dance recitals. So Terry's like, wow, you're actually trying to better yourself. He's like, no, screw that dance troupe. School is cool. I'll dance with you.
Yeah.
So Jake can't get his car back. All his ID was stolen on the party bus. And his badge. He gets arrested trying to steal it back. Holt yells at him, but then reveals he had both watches all along.
Dun dun dun.
He's been planning this for a year. Great reveal. The whole squad was in on Holt's plan, except Boyle.
Because Boyle is ultimately always going to be loyal to Jake. And Holt even talks about in his plan that he had to account for Boyle. Terry kidnapped him just before the party bus.
Captain Raymond Holt is an amazing police captain / genius. Meanwhile, Gina and Terry are getting ready for their dance. And they're introduced as Mr. and Mrs. Terry Jeffords.
I didn't agree to that.
Push it. Only 2 episodes tonight.
Yeah.
Episode 5, The Mole. Jake arrives on a motorcycle, riding as Rose's passenger.
On the bitch seat.
Meanwhile, Internal Affairs is investigating a data leak. Jake defends the squad, saying none of them are a mole. Holt is nervous. Jake promises to be serious. Internal Affairs guy is a severe germaphobe. COVID-like.
Yeah.
Won't shake hands. Asks for hand sanitizer. Later shows up with a face mask, and it was just... like...
It was eerie. Like,
yeah.
Even at one point he's like... Jake's like, oh, let me hand this to you. He's like, no hands. Use your elbows. Which, during COVID, I brought in a new employee, and he didn't want to shake my hand. He did the elbow tap. It's like, okay. By the way, the whole similar surfaces COVID transmission thing turned out to be complete bullshit.
Like most stuff.
Like most of it. I'm not better.
Jake admits to Amy that he sometimes leaves case files at home. Lieutenant Miller said that's what they're investigating. Wunsch shows up to oversee the probe, but Miller shoots her down. Meanwhile, the drug task force isn't being particularly effective. Amy helps Jake get the files. He says they also need to swing by Gina's. Also, they advertise the car. And then Jake gets powdered donut everywhere. But really, it was Amy's fault.
Yeah, he pulls out the, he had said, hey, I brought a box of donuts. And she dumps him out the window. And then he reveals he was hiding one in his pocket. He pulls it out, and she's like, and slaps his hand.
So she was really the one that did it. And then he also had another one. Back up.
Back up?
So they go to Gina's apartment, and there's music playing, but it's locked, and she doesn't answer. So Jake is like, oh, well, at least I still have a key. I think we all know where this is going. They go into the apartment, and the facial reactions were amazing. They find Gina and Boyle together. This destroys Jake's confidence in his knowledge of the squad. Meanwhile, the task force investigated a headphones-only rave. Hitchcock and Scully ask if Holt's okay. He's not, and he has this great soliloquy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like all the background noise, and he's like,
it drops out.
Yeah.
It's just his voice.
It was, for our comedy, that was just so spectacular.
It was.
And Andre Bauer's, like, delivery is just, it's amazing.
He is astounding in this show. Seriously, just always fun to watch every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
But the whole, like, I've got a drug task force that is crumbling around my eyes, and if it doesn't succeed, everything I've worked for will be lost, and you ask if I'm okay. And he just keeps coming back to that, and you ask if I'm okay.
It's just like, almost chills.
Almost chills. And then it's finished with Scully saying, and I know what you mean. My daughter took over my favorite chair. And it's just like, where did it all go wrong?
Gentlemen. Gina and Boyle agree to say it's over, then plot to contain the secret. Miller catches Jake returning the files, and seriously, he's wearing a mask now. Yeah. Jake goes to Holt's house to beg for help. Jake is now the prime suspect, and he'll be suspended in the morning. Holt deduces Gina and Boyle are sleeping together from Jake's horror, which was just, again, like, Jake is just like, I just found out something horrible, and
apparently I don't know the squad as well as I thought.
And then Captain Holt is immediately, Charles and Gina are sleeping together? Jake is like, what? Like, I didn't, what?
And he, like, lays out the whole reasoning behind it based on what Jake said, and it's just like, damn, he's a good cop.
Terry and Rosa catch a dealer. It's someone Terry thought he could trust. Theme. Jake and Holt start discussing the squad late into the night. Amy and Gina commiserate, and Gina starts getting dirt on Amy's relationship. Amy's like, he has mesh-lined underwear. Why? Is it a medical thing? Like, how do you even ask that? Meanwhile, Holt and Jake accuse each other of being the mole. Jake shows up, and so Holt gets offended and tells Jake to get out.
Return your guest pajamas and your guest slippers.
And your guest toothbrush and get out. Jake shows up in the morning and says he thinks Miller is the mole and working for Wunsch. Jake gives Miller a thumb drive offering info on Holt. Meanwhile, Amy assures Gina she would never tell, and also she knows Gina was looking for dirt. But she's like, honestly, though, I don't think it really matters as much as you think it does. Like, yeah, the initial shock wore off, and then it was just like, well, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Jake and Holt confront Wunsch and Miller. They catch her on an ethics violation, and they have it recorded, so they thought of everything.
Basically, she hired Miller to
try to get info on the task force that she doesn't have access to. Terry and Rosa make some headway on finding a supplier for Giggle Pig. Gina announces to the squad that she and Boyle slept together. Jake and Boyle make up. And then the big reveal, because earlier when Jake goes to Holt's house, he's wearing pajamas that say RJH, and Jake is trying to figure out what the J stands for. And Holt finally says that his middle name is Jacob.
Jake.
So it's fun. I love these kinds of like, you know, the intrigue. Like with both of the episodes were like you're waiting for the twist.
Yeah.
It was good. Very good.
Lots of fun. Always is.
Yes. Anyway, yep.
That's it.
That's all I got.